So, yeah, the legislation actually plays a very important role, but not just the legislation itself, but I think more importantly, how that legislation is implemented. And this will determine whether or not the livelihoods of these communities are actually able to be protected and improved. Um, it's all well and good to have nice legislation. It looks good on paper, but if it's not being implemented properly, then it's just a piece of paper with words on it. And so the implementation aspect of it really becomes a crucial component of the legislation. So, those communities, of course, also need to be represented in the legislation, and I think that's very important. The legislation needs to speak to who they are, what their needs are. There needs to be provisions within the legislation that also speak to them having access to those resources, having rights, what support they need for their livelihoods. And so are there also, provisions speaking to whether or not, for example, they have specific fishing areas that are demarcated specifically for them? And so, the legislation starts to play a major role in that. That representation within the legislation is actually really important for these communities, especially when we're talking about improving their livelihoods and protecting their livelihoods.